Hello, everybody, and welcome to Mupo and Friends. Our special guest today is an actress, producer, writer, martial artist. She is known for bringing fierce characters to life like Saxa in the Star series Spartacus, Scorpion King 4, Zephyr in the mixed martial arts series Into the Badlands on AMC. You can catch her new movie, Love and Monsters, which is out now. She is also the founder and CEO of her own nonprofit organization, Visual Impact Now. Her film, Army of One, that she produced, starred in, and wrote, comes out December 15th. Coming in 2021, she also joins Keanu Reeves in The Matrix 4. This talent and beauty does not play with dolls, so get out your reverse script daggers and give a rock star welcome to Ellen Holman. Hello, Ellen.
Oh my gosh, I just want to carry you around in my pocket anytime I'm feeling down to be like, can you just say that whole intro again? I want to be more fuzzy.
I know about those reverse grip daggers.
No, they're a bit tricky. You're always gonna nick those
Yeah.
knuckles. I still have the scars to prove it, and it's nearly been a decade.
Oh, no. Scars
Oh,
to prove it, but you are excellent at what you do.
Yeah.
So I know that you grew up in Detroit, Michigan, and your father was a violinist in a symphony, and your mother was a pianist. And you have four sisters. Am I saying that correctly?
I'm the oldest of four, and I have two brothers and a sister. There's a lot to keep track of there.
Wow. So are any of them in the entertainment business, like are musicians or actors or?
You know what? We all couldn't be further from each other. We're all close. However, we chose very different fields. My brother is a ship captain. The other brother works in tech, and then my sister is an artist. So we all grew up loving movies, and it's kind of funny. We grew up watching WWF with Hulk Hogan and The
Oh boy.
Undertaker. And I remember when we were younger, after watching hours of cartoons, we would set pillows down on the living room floor and we would all kind of reenact the Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan, and we had our own little entertainment slash action situation going on.
I read you were an all-star track runner as well. You held the Michigan State record for women's long jump in Troy, Michigan. How did you get into athletics? Did this something that ran in your family?
Yes, both my parents are quite athletic. My father, in particular, was a triathlete. So I think that we're all just high energy people. If I'm not running around doing something, I'll chew the furniture. And the long jump actually came about in a funny way. I did the relays, like the 4x1, the 4x2, and the 100 and the 200. And one day we were at a competition, and all of our long jump competitors didn't show up for whatever reason, whether they were sick or injured. So my coach was like, Holman, get in there. I'm like, what do you mean get in there? Yeah, just jump. Well, what do you mean just jump? What do I do? Just jump. So it was just myself and the recorder, and I took a good running start. I jumped, and the recorder looked down and he looked at me and he's like, "You just jumped 17 feet."
Wow.
I'm like, "Is that
Wow.
good? I don't know. Is that good?" He's
Yes.
like, "I see you do that again." And so he had me go and do it again, and that jump started a whole career in being a long jumper. And I wanted to go and compete on a much larger scale, and I wanted to go for a scholarship, but unfortunately I got severely injured my senior year, so that took me out, and I had to rely on a pesky academic scholarship instead. So I had to rely on brains instead of brawn in that aspect. But yeah, no, running and any kind of athletics is has been a big part of my life.
But you've more than made up for it now in your films.
I know. I
Yeah.
think so. I used
Yeah.
to run around chasing boys, kicking their shins on the playground, and now I found a way to make a living at it, I guess.
I
That's
love it.
awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk about Army of One. I know everybody's excited. It comes out December 15th. What is actually unique about this production, and what can you tell us about the movie?
What's unique about this production is that it's not your typical Hollywood blow 'em up CGI fest. everything you see is 100% authentic. Every performer is doing their own, whether it's their stunts, their own action, and it adds this certain grittiness factor to it. In particular, there's a oneer we're very proud of, and for those of you listening, a oneer is essentially from beginning to end, the camera doesn't cut. And those are particularly tricky when you're dealing with blood continuity and breakaways and so many things. Camera moves, so many things can go wrong on so many levels. And we managed to pull it off, believe it or not, on our first take. We couldn't believe it, actually. And we were essentially following the footsteps of those that my husband works very closely with. He's with an action design team called 8711, and they do films such as Deadpool and Atomic Blonde and the whole John Wick franchise. So we're fortunate enough to train together with that incredible stunt team. And I don't know, for those of you who've seen Atomic Blonde, there is a magnificent oneer in there with Charlize just kicking total ass. So I said to my husband, I'm like, let's do our own oneer. Let's do our own low budget oneer in Dothan, Alabama, and see if we can pull it off. And lo and behold, we did. So there is a grittiness factor to it. It's not an oversaturated, ridiculous budget Hollywood production, which we're both used to working on. So if anything, this is like a breath of fresh air to really roll up your sleeves and give it your all in a different sense of the word.
I'm
And
excited
what
for it.
paved?
Sorry, I'm
Oh,
excited.
it's gonna be great. It comes out December 15th. So be on the lookout for that. I'm super, super excited about that. I saw the trailer, absolutely loved it.
Yeah, we
What
don't really mess around with the trailer. I mean, it starts out as what you think might be a rom-com, and then nope, gets pretty
Right.
intense pretty fast.
And you're doing, again, you're doing your own stunts, your own work in there. So what paved the way for the roles that you've come to play?
I had a really strong mom growing up. I had a really
Mm.
strong single mom growing up, and in our home, way back when I was young, she had not one but two giant cardboard cutouts. One was Tomb Raider, Angelina Jolie's Tomb Raider, and then the other was Xena Warrior Princess. And she used to speak so highly of these women. Like she calls me Elf. She's like, Elf, you always need to be independent and strong on your own. If life isn't going well, you can't blame it on someone else, whether that be a man or a woman. Just always find your center and your strength from yourself. And she always, I mean, Rosie the Riveter poster, she was such a strong single woman who raised 4 kids, worked full time, never had any help. So I've always had that like roll up your sleeves mentality. And it was such a surreal moment in my life when I ended up booking a show called Spartacus. And I find myself over in New Zealand playing the role of Saxa, the German warrior. And even my attire was not a far cry from Xena Warrior Princess. And I show up, the first day I showed up on set to make introductions, I walk into what looks like this gorgeous Roman villa, and I see this beautiful statuesque redhead with her long cascading locks. And she turns around, and it is Lucy Lawless, Xena Warrior Princess. I'm like, oh my God! Like, how can this get any better? This is absolutely incredible. She, of course, played the Roman, the wife of Bariatus, Lucretia, and she didn't actually have any action. And the female heroine, the female gladiatress in the show was me, and it was like a really amazing passing of the guard, like passing down the mantle. So that was a pretty incredible thing. And from that point forward, I'm like, I'm gonna stick with this because I like how this makes me feel.
So you said you like the WWF, which is a WWE now. Did you ever think of trying out? Because one of my best friends is Mickey James, and I used to book quite a bit of the wrestlers and autograph signings and stuff.
Oh my gosh, I think those women are absolutely incredible. I think that
They're athletic.
they're gymnasts, they're contortionists, they're MMA fighters. You have to be everything as well as an actor. One of my dear friends, Eve Torres
Oh,
Gracie,
okay.
your own, she actually is the one who introduced me to jujitsu years and years ago. We met on a film set, the film set of Scorpion King, Quest for Power, and she's like, "Have you ever tried jujitsu?" Like, it's been in different elements of the action sequences I've done. She's like, you should come on over and meet my husband. Meet my husband, Henner Gracie. Would you like it? And lo and behold, I got the bug, got my women empowered assistant instructor certification, got my blue belt, and I've been addicted ever since. And I've brought a lot of that to on-screen choreography because I feel like as a woman, it's not working harder, it's working smarter.
Right.
But to long-winded answer, I have no plans going into the WWE world. I will witness it from afar. I also have other friends that are wrestlers, and it's incredible what those women go through is absolutely incredible. It's like the difference between live theater and TV and film. I've just been in the TV and film genre where if you screw up a take, guess what? You go back to one. But these guys, if you screw up a take, you can break your neck.
Yeah.
And the whole world is watching it.
Or get released.
Yeah, it's cutthroat. I mean,
Yeah,
both
it is.
are cutthroat for sure.
Although you do have some, you have to be careful when even working on set. I know, speaking of your husband, Stephen Dunleavy, he's also a stuntman and actor, and he trained you. He trains with you, and that's how you met on the set. What what are the mechanics that go into coordinating the fight stunts when you're acting as well and keeping track of all of it?
Well, it's my belief that every action sequence tells a story. And if you don't care about the action sequence, it's because it's not telling that story properly. And a lot of times, particularly in TV, it moves so quick that they don't add any uniqueness to it. It's like a few punches and a few kicks, and you don't,
Right.
you're not really attached to it. On the other side, in the film world, it's especially the big Marvel productions are so heavily reliant on CGI. And you don't care if a CGI bot dies, like you have no attachment to it. There's no, they're relying too much on their gimmicks to really make you care. So what my husband and I do is that we try to think of things that haven't been done before. And once again, this is what our comrades at 8711 Action Design, along with a mentor of mine, Chad Stahelski, who's not only a sparring buddy, a professor,
Wow.
but he also directs the John Wick franchise. He's always like, what's the most memorable fight scene you can think of? And everyone's like, oh, well, John Wick. He's like, forget John Wick. Like, what's the most memorable fight scene? It's like, well, in Indiana Jones shoots the guy without a fight. The guy's like, whoa, and you think his big fight's going to ensue, and he just goes one bullet. And even like in John Wick, when he stabs a guy with the pencil, it's not some elaborate scene. And basically, the point I'm making there is that it's thinking outside the box. So there's a particular sequence, well, a couple sequences in Army of One that I came up with at like 2:00 in the morning while my husband was asleep. I was like, babe, wait, has anyone ever been stabbed through the jugular with a deer antler? I mean, like really stabbed through the jugular with the deer antler. And he's like,
Wow.
darling, can you just go back to sleep? We'll talk about it in the morning. I'm like, okay, well, I'm writing this down. And sure enough, you're gonna see that in the movie. And then like another night I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, darling, has anyone ever been hung by a garden hose? And he's like, what are you talking about, darling? I'm like, a garden hose. Has anyone ever like been hung up by a garden hose and asphyxiated? He's like, just write it down. Crazy ideas to see them through to fruition safely do actually take engineering.
Right.
They do take time and they do take rehearsal. And even when we designed the oneer, I wanted there to be chaos and fluidity and humor. I think humor is also really important. And that can be done just with very subtle performances, just a look or a throwing of an object. It can be not in the typical sense funny, but something that adds levity, so you don't become anesthetized to nonstop brutality on screen.
Exactly.
Now, did you ever refuse to do any scenes that you thought might have, because I know in Spartacus you had to kiss a girl. They have you doing everything. Like, did you ever like not want to do a scene?
It's really interesting. Actually, the bisexual nature of Saxa was actually my idea, um, because she's such a dominant force. She's essentially the female version of Gannicus, um, and I just felt that there, just through her character and who she became, I'm like, she is definitely hooked up with women. Like, there is undoubtedly this masculine aspect, and especially when the Sybil character was coming into the storyline, I'm like, well, you can't just leave sex on the side of the road. You need to give her somebody too. And so I called up Stephen Deniet. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this idea? He's like, I love it. And that's when he wrote a love interest for Saxa. But no, and there are certain roles that you take, and there's there's bravery involved, whether that's from a nudity standpoint or an action design standpoint. And I've never felt forced to do anything. I'm the kind of girl that if I don't want to do something, you're going to be the first to know.
What is a rigorous day of training like, and when you're preparing for a film that involves a lot of action, a lot of stunts? What is a typical day like?
It's really funny. I am a creature of habit, just like my husband, where our alarm goes off at 4:45 in the morning. We have our bullet coffee. We make our smoothies. I make my pre-workout beverage for later on, and then we drive to the shop, as we call it, and we start at around 6:45 in the morning with 90 minutes of judo and jujitsu with endless takedowns, and then usually followed by an hour of jujitsu, and then from that, weight training if we're not completely dead. And
Wow.
that's when you're prepping for a job, with which is, of course, every job is different. If there's, if hand-to-hand combat is part of it, then you spend more time doing that. If kicks are more part of it, you spend more time doing that. But general maintenance, I mean, I just love jujitsu anyway. But I do balance it out with running, just so I don't turn into like a meathead.
You must be exhausted. How you must have a recovery process you go through.
Yeah, it's like a 2 days on, 1 day off, and then I have
Yeah.
fat Sunday, where I basically eat everything in my sight. I love like a pad thai, and I'll drink my wine, and I'll like cut. And I also don't restrict myself. I'm not like anti-carb or anti-fat. If my body's telling me to eat it, I'll eat it. I'm sure that'll catch up with me someday.
Nice. Now, your first TV appearance was on an episode of Malcolm in the Middle.
Oh my
And then
God.
later, Kristen McNichol on the fourth season of OC. Were there any obstacles of any TV shows that you had to work to overcome?
Well, I mean, a lot of times if they give you a different language, like in Malcolm in the Middle, I can't believe I still remember this. That was, my God, nearly 20 years ago. Micah was Dutch, so I fooled the casting directors because I'm German, and I just went in there with a German accent, and they thought they put it all in the same category because they're casting directors. That's what
Oh
they
boy.
do. And so but so I kind of tricked them, and then I had to learn the lines in Dutch separately without telling them I didn't know how to say them. But German and Dutch are actually quite similar. Like, ich kann das sehen is I can see that in German, and ich kann das sehen is the Dutch version. So you just have to sort of adjust it a little
Nice.
bit.
Wow, you say that well. Tell us about this. You had a really epic cage fight in Scorpion King 4. What made that unique?
Yes, with Eve Torres Gracie, because we did all of our own stuff. Uh, in regards to the epic cage fight in Scorpion King, yeah, Eve Torres Gracie, she's an actual WWE champion, multi times, and to see her doing a flying moonsault across the cage Like, if she's going to be doing all this stuff herself, I'm going to be doing all this stuff myself. And Grant Powell was the stunt coordinator on that, and or the fight choreographer, and he did such an incredible job. And that was actually Eve's first time doing a fight on screen. So I really passed along my knowledge, like, hey, girl, this is a marathon, not a sprint. Like, we'll be shooting this for 3 days. So if the camera's not on you, you don't have to go 1,000%. And also just showing, how to make a beginning, middle, and end of a fight so that it's interesting. Like,
Right.
oh, is the big guy, the bad guy gonna win? Is the good guy gonna win? And playing up that aspect of performance is what makes it dynamic. And of course, I mean, she's such a rock star that she just nailed it.
But she was the one that introduced you to jujitsu, correct?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I want to know. Can you tell us a little bit about the projects that you're working on Love and Monsters and Death's Door?
Yes, so Death's Door was a medical pilot that we shot.
Mhm.
Um, and then Love and Monsters with Michael Rooker, Dylan O'Brien, and Jess Henwick is really just a feel good PG-13 monster movie. The post apocalypse, finding love in the post apocalypse. I may or may not be the one of the antagonists in it. So I may or may not have a cannon for an arm, literally. But that one I recommend. That one's kid friendly. That one is definitely kid friendly.
Okay, so
Army of One, not kid friendly. It is quite
I can't
violent.
wait for that to come out. That's my type of movie. Army of One.
Yes, you'll probably enjoy it.
well, we know you have to go, but I wanted to ask you about you have a nonprofit organization, Visual Impact Now. It provides eye exams for thousands of kids and glasses. What was your inspiration, your why behind that?
Well, actually, in 2008, during the writer's strike, there really wasn't much work happening. So I thought to myself, what can I do that utilizes other aspects of my abilities? And to me, that's pooling all of my resources together. I went to school originally for business and marketing, so I'm like, okay, how can I create a business that doesn't benefit me, and collaborate with a bunch of actors sitting at home watching TV? And I also thought, what can I contribute to that is a near immediate result? Because people love to see those instant results. I really feel strongly about the mental health aspect of nonprofit, but unfortunately, that's not quite as instant. That's a lifelong situation. So one day I have terrible eyesight myself, so I was just kind of like racking my brain one day, like, oh, what can I do to, like, what can I get behind that will really inspire people? And I took my glasses off and I kind of rubbed my eyes. I'm like, oh my god, glasses.
Oh,
You put glasses on a child and that instantly changes their life, instantly. So then I called up the largest 501c3 organization in the world, called One Sight. They operate on an international level. I said, hey, I'm going to throw a fundraiser for you. I'm going to raise a ton of money and I want to run a clinic for you. They're like, who is this? Yet, but you're going to. And so my board and I ended up throwing a fundraiser, and we raised enough money with the cast of Star Trek and Mad Men, and we raised enough money to fund our own clinic and essentially give I think it was like 1,700 kids visual acuities, eye exams, and glasses. And that, of course, was
That's
a massive
amazing.
undertaking.
that's
Yeah,
beautiful.
we partnered with LAUSD and had an entire admin building and the LA Rec Center downtown. Like, it was a whole thing.
Are you going to
That
do
is
another
beautiful.
charity event again? Because we'll definitely help you
Not
promote it.
anytime soon, just given what's happening right now, it's a massive liability, and it's just not safe right now. So someday we will. But as for right now, getting a bunch of kids together in an auditorium is not really not really a
Yeah, but we could help you probably raise money. There's got to be ways you could raise money for this organization because I was 2 years old when I had glasses. So I'm like,
Gee,
I
oh,
can't see. I without these glasses, I can't see. I have two sets. So I could feel you on that and I would support that.
right. We recently used some resources to raise a bunch of masks for Michigan because that's where I'm from. So my focus actually went from visual acuity just this year to PPE for the
Wow.
hospitals in Michigan that are overrun. So I did change my focus a little bit for that.
That's a great cause
Um,
though too. I mean, that's amazing.
yeah, I mean that literally saves.
Fabulous.
Yeah, so there's
Where
only
can
so
people
many tentacles you can put yourself in.
so many bits of you, right?
Yeah,
Where can people go if they're interested in donating or helping with your projects?
So I do my website is visualimpactnow.com, but to make an immediate donation, our partners onesite.org are operating on an international level, and they're fully active. They do have satellites in the United States, but right now not a lot is going on. So if you do want to make an impact on an international level, onesite.org is certainly a fantastic resource.
Onesite.org, so you can go there to make a donation now. Thank you
Beautiful.
so much
Oh my
for
gosh,
s-
thank you so
for
much.
visiting us. Before we go, I want to do a quick little. I'm going to start a sentence and you finish it. Three quick little blurbs, and here we go. My ideal adventure.
Oh, victory trails with my hubby.
Something I'd like to do that I haven't done yet.
Sleep more than 6 hours.
And one quirky thing that people may not know.
I hate putting my bare feet on cement. I hate it
I
more.
do too.
Oh God, it
Oh,
creeps me
I
out.
know.
It creeps me out so much, even thinking about it. Ah, I wonder what that's even called.
Well, we're the same on that. Yeah, it's a little phobia. Just
Ooh,
don't want to touch the concrete. Thank you so much for stopping by, and please be on the lookout for Army of One, December 15th. And as always, you can find this show courtesy of Mupo TV on www.mupoentertainment.com. Again, that's www.mupoentertainment.com. Thank you so much to our special guest, Ellen Holman, our CEO and host of the show, Michelle Mupo. And this is Holly, and we are over and out.
thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.